What is going on, YouTube? PPS back here. It is Monday. What is it? What do they call it? Overreaction Monday, coming after first week of NFL props, NFL games. Joined as always with my guy Monotone Football. How you doing, man?
Good. No, I love week 2. I love overreacting, man. It's my favorite thing to do. And it kind of puts us one-on-one against the books. Like, who's right? Who saw what happened well last week better? It's kind of one of the most fun parts of the season. But yeah, I'm doing great. Football is back. Couldn't be happier. We get to talk about football for 20 more weeks here, 3 times a week. Obviously started off the season strong. Love doing that. I'm fired up, ready to keep going.
Yeah, and while you mentioned that, we might as well go through how we did this week. Obviously, as good as we could do. Ended up cashing all of them. I don't really think any of them were relatively close, right? Were they? I think Carson Wentz had a 50-yarder. Juju had 70, 80?
Easily in the first half. He got that in the first half.
Trevor Lawrence had 270. And Jefferson had 3 catches over 25 and a half, and he had 2 mid-20s. But we'll go through our recap here. Obviously, these are yours, Stu. We have Juju with the easy money spot there. We have Carson Wentz, easy money spot. Rolling with Trevor Lawrence over 237 and a half. This actually went down, and I hit it again because I moved it down to 235 and a half, and I grabbed it again. So that was nice. And we also had Jefferson over 25 and a half. Dude, he had a 60-yarder in that. So appreciate it, Jay. We appreciate you popping in here early and often here. We did get the brooms out, so that was fun to do on week 1. Hopefully more. We'll get some more. You guys in here, get some more of you to check out our stuff weekly. Obviously, Friday's show is going to have obviously the most of the plays there. But, yeah, I mean, with Overreaction Monday, obviously we'll talk about the recap and stuff at the end here a little bit more, but Overreaction Monday, where are you going to? Where is the spot that you're like, dude, shut the hell up. This is not going to actually happen.
This is tough. I mean, there were so many surprising, especially that early slate. The late slate was a lot of blowouts. For me personally, I was big on the Chiefs blowing out the Cardinals, so I was kind of happy to be validated there. Oh, the Texans was one. The Bengals were one. Man, I don't know. Where do we start right here? Let's see. What do you think? Let's
kick it. You just mentioned the Texans. What's your thoughts on Dameon Pierce with Rex Burkhead there? Do you see that being a committee all year? Or are you going to see Dameon Pierce kind of like what we're thinking about with Breece Hall, where we think Breece Hall is going to be the one halfway through the season, but still played well. Breece Hall still ended up with 12 fantasy points. Obviously, we expected a little bit more, but he ended up with 12 fantasy points and really only played, maybe 33% of the snaps?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good one. Young running backs is tough for me. I was never on the Pierce train. I don't have him in best ball. I don't have him on fantasy. I was skeptical when he had that crazy good ADP, right? And then those reports started coming out and he tanked, right? He went through the roof. People loved him. They were grabbing him so early. So I never jumped in at that point either. And it's because this team is clearly going to employ multiple running backs throughout the whole season. Maybe injury helps him out right here. I think he eventually does win over the role over the course of the season. I mean, I think he does get more exposure. Obviously, did you see the quote Lovie Smith gave? He said, "Oh, well, the plan was to give him the ball more." I don't know what that exactly means. You run the game plan. You did not give him the ball more. Rex Burkhead, obviously, we do know he is the pass catcher. He clearly had that role, but he also kind of dominated those run touches, which was a little bit scary for a Pierce fantasy owner. I think he wins it over, but it's going to be a tough first, I would say, 6 or so weeks, right, where you kind of got to deal with at least a 50-50 split. Think kind of Javonte Williams last year, but, I mean, does he have the Javonte Williams talent profile? That's kind of the thing. We don't know.
Yeah, it was annoying because that's the perfect game script for Dameon Pierce, and he still didn't get it. So there's that one. Obviously, the Breece Hall one, but Breece Hall did what he needed to do with the touches. My biggest one was James Robinson coming back. He looked fantastic. Obviously, Washington's front is absolute trash heap out there. Besides a couple sacks on Trevor Lawrence, but man, dude, he just shredded them coming off that Achilles injury. He looked pretty damn explosive. Obviously, when ETN did touch the ball, it was great. I think he was getting 6-7 yards a touch. I just don't know why he didn't get it more often. Maybe they're being a little bit more scared with him, but I thought they'd be more scared with the Achilles.
Yeah, man. I mean, I came in here and I victory lapped my Cam Akers, right? I came in here, I kind of talked about all week. I said, we don't bet on historical outliers. We don't do that. We don't mess with the Achilles. And then James Robinson comes out and looks perfectly fine. And I mean, Akers had this injury way farther back, right? He had all offseason to rehab. Robinson rushed back from this injury and immediately looked good, which definitely is odd. That's a tough position. One thing to remember, if you didn't watch this game, ETN should have had 2 touchdowns very easily. Trevor Lawrence overthrew a wide open, should have been an easy connection, and then ETN returned the favor later in the game, dropping an easy walk-in touchdown. So ETN theoretically should have had 2 receiving touchdowns that he absolutely dropped. Obviously, we can't count should have fantasy points as real fantasy points. You probably lost because of that. I know I did. I have a lot of ETN around these parts. But yeah, I am concerned. James Robinson looked good, and that this could also be an early statement that Washington run defense is really bad, because it looked like ETN and Robinson could kind of get whatever they wanted on the grounds.
Yeah, dude, it was everywhere. They were everywhere, man. It was ETN touchdown. He got 15-yard carry. I just was surprised they didn't leave him in more than just 1 or 2 plays before swapping out. James Robinson was on the field for quite a bit of that time. Then let's go into a little bit of injuries, right? We got Eli Mitchell, my guy, in my 16-man league, which sucks, absolutely sucks. In a 16-man to lose him, I had Cordero Patterson on my bench this week, so that was fun. But we have Elijah Mitchell, Najee Harris, Keenan Allen, 3 of the bigger names going out, along with T. Higgins. T. Higgins obviously going out didn't really mean much because, damn, Jamar Chase just cooked. He cooked every single play. Did not matter. He was open on plays where Joe didn't throw him the ball, and he still had a 33% target share in the game. It was pretty wild on that end. But we have Najee Harris and Eli Mitchell. Najee Harris, one I believe, is just re-aggravating the foot, right? So, right? I think they mentioned it was a foot.
It's unclear though how long it's going to be, because the Steelers haven't really commented on it, but people are speculating a couple weeks at least, right? I was seeing like 4-ish kind of weeks, maybe a little longer. So I don't know what the severity of that injury, but he is going to be missing a little bit of time.
Yeah, and obviously Eli Mitchell going out there. You have Jeff Wilson, who has been relatively ineffective, I would say, when he does get the chances. Even with how good of his line is, he's not been very efficient with his touches at all. But now you have Price. What's his last name? I know he has a / last name, something Price.
Oh, TDP. Yeah, Tyrion Davis Price, I believe.
Price. There it is. He was a healthy scratch this week, so you never really know. They had another guy out there. I know he was an undrafted free agent or undrafted guy who was their number 2 that did not touch the ball this week. But that's a big one. San Francisco's trying to run the ball. Do you think it's just going to be Debo taking over? Or are you going to see a Jeff Wilson show?
Man, that offense was ugly. Obviously, the rain played a big part for those that didn't watch that 49ers-Bears game. I got the pleasure of watching it back last night. It's really hard to get takeaways from that game, to be honest. What I will say is, like you said, this isn't a new thing. When Jeff Wilson gets in there, he normally gets volume, but he never really looks great. Even thinking last year, I feel like I can remember a couple like 20 for 77 stat lines. This team wants to run the ball a lot, but if Jeff Wilson, I mean, we've got to kind of think he's forced into a position where he's going to be the guy if they didn't even feel comfortable enough with TDP to activate him last game. This kind of feels like Trey Sermon all over again, where we draft a guy in the 3rd round, everyone thinks they're going to make it good, and then he's nowhere to be found. So I think Jeff Wilson probably is a priority on your fantasy waivers, right? If you need a running back that's guaranteed volume, he's guaranteed goal line touches. Even when Elijah Mitchell is healthy, Jeff Wilson has kind of found his way out there at times over these last couple seasons, whether it was Mostert as the running back or now Mitchell. He's always involved at the goal line, so he does bring that to the table. Solid pass catcher. This team doesn't have a pass-catching running back, though. They've used Check, who's a fullback that can catch passes, but they really don't have a pass-catching running back on that squad, which is very interesting. I don't know. I would say Wilson's probably the guy. Lance is going to continue to run as well. We'll always have to take that into account as well.
For sure. And obviously, I think the last one I was going to talk about was just the big-time receivers eating this week. Like, it was nuts. Yeah. Like, all those big-time names, everybody showed out, right? You got Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams in his new spot. You go even to Travis Kelce, had his day yesterday. That was awesome to see that he everything that we thought still came through. I mean, who else? AJ Brown, number one there. I mean, all these number ones. Justin Jefferson. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown still had a 33% target share with 20 fantasy points in a full point PPR. I mean, with all the running backs kind of sucking, we saw some pretty big days from the wide receivers. Was there any of them that you think is going to just be sustainable the whole year, or you think that this is just a pop-off week? Because you could even add Michael Pittman in there.
Oh, what's going to be sustainable? That's tough. I mean, I think Justin Jefferson is going to be sustainable, right? I mean, with the way they got Cooper Kupp open last week, I saw they had him in motion a bunch. They had Jefferson in the slot a bunch. It's clear that Kevin O'Connell offense of creativity has made its way over to to the Vikings. And I think Jefferson is obviously going to be that guy. AJ Brown, what he did was interesting. Devonta Smith was nowhere to be found. And I've been kind of one of those guys that's been thinking maybe Devonta Smith takes that step this season, right? He already has the kind of personnel with or the repertoire with Jalen Hurts, and he faced cornerback number ones all year. So you'd think maybe a downgrade to cornerback number two, Devonta Smith, would go off. That was not the case at all. AJ Brown dominated the target share in that game, dominated the air yards, and his ADOT was really low too. I don't know if you saw that. He was getting a lot of these slants, a lot of these short passes, and just doing what AJ Brown does, which is make a big play out of it. So I think AJ Brown's going to be the real deal this season. It's scary as a Washington fan. I'm worried already.
Yeah, no, it was nice to see Hurts getting to show off his arm a little bit there, especially with a guy who can create separation. And even Dallas Goedert only had 4 targets yesterday. Obviously did pretty well with them. 20 yards per catch is obviously pretty good for a tight end there. But, man, that was really nice to see him take a step forward in the passing game. The Giants take the W. Daniel Jones, give me that most improved, baby. Obviously, Saquon helped out my fantasy lineups all over the place there. He was fantastic. But I feel
also,
like yeah, go.
I was gonna say I made it through in Survivor. Chalk Ravens stayed alive. Everyone else fell down with those. Oh, the Bears I know was a big one. A lot of stuff went crazy. So I'm glad I survived through with the Chalk Ravens brought me through to the promised land. I'm alive for week 2 of Survivor. We'll catch that on Friday.
Yeah, bro. I had the Panthers in that one. That one sucked on a 60-yard field goal. That one sucked, but I did have my Stat Hero NFL one, and they're doing like these crazy contests where it's like a year long. So it's like the top 10 people get these crazy prizes. And I took like 9th this week. So I'll end up being on the leaderboard this week, but obviously I'll fall off since it's week 1 because there's 16 other weeks. But man, Justin Jefferson helped that one out a lot. That was fun. So obviously did well in the DFS realm, but happy to see the 3 winners there. We'll talk about that towards the end, and then we'll have our giveaway for the touchdown bet. I believe it's the guy who did AJ Brown because I used the tiebreaker of most fantasy points scored because we did have about 6 or 7 of you guys get one right in the anytime touchdown scorer. I believe AJ Brown was the highest fantasy points of the day of all those guys, so I will make sure I get that name out there for you, and we'll do that towards the end of the show after we give out our picks here. Let's go to our picks. We did our recap here. We are up 2 units on the show, 4-0 sweep. Obviously talked about that at the beginning of the show here, but let's get right on into it. A play that I really like. I actually have this on my card. I'm really happy to see that you're on it too.
Yep, I'm on Javonte Williams. Longest rush, over 13.5 yards. Was the same line in most spots, -114, -115 on FanDuel and all the main books, which is obviously nice to see some uniform lines across the whole scope of things. The thing is, I haven't been the highest guy on Javonte. I know we got a question here, Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams for bets tonight, can't decide. The unfortunate reality, and this is a Packers fan with that coaching staff moving over, is this is going to be, just like last year, a ride the hot hand approach where both running backs are going to be plenty involved. The thing is, fantasy Twitter, all the guys that you love getting content from or the people you read their tweets, they love Javonte Williams because he's an elite athlete, right? His athletic profile, some of the stuff we'll get into a minute about him is so impressive that we want him to be that guy. We want him to be that alpha. And he's kind of priced like it in a lot of these markets. Like I think his rushing yards might be a little bit high, his attempts, and I think Melvin Gordon might be a little bit low, which is why I don't have much Javonte Williams in my fantasy and my season long, because I still think, unfortunately, this is going to be a 2-headed monster. But Longest rush is kind of the beauty of things. It's why I like longest reception as well. You really only need one play to break right. And we're talking about someone that has the tools to actually make this play come together and hit. Javonte is clearly one of them. I mean, last season, ranking top 10 in broken tackles, elusiveness, explosive plays, all those advanced stats you want to see. I believe he led the league in broken tackles and yards after contact last season. This guy's a beast. And he was behind an O-line that struggled a little bit last season. You'd think it'd be a little bit more beefed up and ready to go. Also, less pressure, right? He doesn't have to run against stacked boxes anymore because no one was scared of the Teddy Bridgewater experience. They're surely going to be scared of the Russell Wilson experience. If anyone knows what he can do, it's obviously going to be his former coach right there. Also looks like a positive game script. Obviously, all assumptions are, at least for me at least, that the Broncos are going to take care of business right here. I'm pretty confident the Broncos win this game pretty handily right here, and that means more running the ball. When you're in control, you want to control that clock, and it's going to be giving the ball to Javonte. So he hit this in, I believe, 11 of his 17 games last season in a two-headed monster kind of backfield anyway. Now he finds himself in a great spot right here. I think Javonte takes care of business once again.
Yeah, no, I love it. Like I said, we never talk. I bring this up probably every other week at this point. Definitely during baseball season. We don't talk about our plays ever until about 10 minutes before the show starts.
Yep.
And obviously this is nice to have one that we're both on. So we're going to my other play here. I know I'm going to hear it in the comment section. I'm going to a guy that not many people are going to back tonight, but I'm trusting in Mr. Geno Smith tonight. I sent this into my VIP chat, and the first thing they said is, you need to explain yourself. Like, that's literally the first thing that was mentioned, was you need to explain yourself on the Geno play. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. And I'm like, I'll do it live. I will literally come on here and put my face to Geno Smith, backing him up. So Geno Smith started 2 games last year. He hit this in 2 of the 4 games, right? He hit one when they crushed Jacksonville 31-7. And he also hit it against Pittsburgh, right? We go up in his other 2 ones. He's going against the Rams. Obviously, last year they were absolutely elite. Don't trust that the Josh Allen experience is going to go well for many defenses this year. The Rams were a top 5 defense last year. Obviously, you see them this year and it didn't go as well, but still doesn't mean last year they weren't great. And then New Orleans. New Orleans is tough. That defense, obviously, against Atlanta didn't look great, but they were very, very good last year in pretty much all of our top 10 defensive metrics, right? So when I'm going here, we have Geno Smith. Obviously, I 100% agree. I believe the Broncos take this one. Seattle might be the worst team in the NFL with that defense. It's terrible. But I like this game script. I think that they're going to have to throw quite a bit. And I also like that if you go across his entire roster, what is the best part of this team? The pass catchers. It's the receivers. It's the guys who can get open, right? And I get it. Geno's not great. But Geno can put a ball on a guy when he has separation. Tyler Lockett, how many times do you just see him and he's open by 5 yards? Right? It doesn't even matter, right? Last year, you have Russell. His average depth of target is number 1 in the league, right? That's how Russell plays. This offense knows he was gone how long ago. You know you have to change everything towards your new quarterback, right? You're not going to be able to have Russ chuck it downfield. You got Geno here. You're going to have to learn the intermediate routes. You still got DK Metcalf. Going on to Pro Football Focus, we got DK at a 68% matchup advantage. I believe Lockett is 71. Obviously, those are pretty damn good numbers on those matchups. Rashad Penny has shown the ability to catch passes as well. And also, they're not going to be able to run this ball, right? They're not going to be able to run the ball. Looking at the matchup advantage there, Seattle has a minus 30% matchup advantage on the run side. I don't see them being able to run it. They're going to want to give the ball to Penny anyway. I see the dump downs there. I also think that the Penny under rush attempts is a good look. I think most of this damage he's going to do is through the air here. But yeah, I mean, you saw in one of those games that he threw 20 completions, Tyler Lockett had 12 catches for like 130, right? And that's all after the catch. They were like 5-yard targets, right? And I expect that same thing here. Dump offs. You're going to have to get it out quick. Obviously, you got Bradley Chubb on the outside there. I know there's a few injuries in this Denver linebacking core. I believe Josie Jewell is out for this game. But yeah, you have Surtain. You have some good DBs. But I think the underneath routes, I think those are going to be where we're going to see most of these plays being. And I think that this game might just get a little bit out of hand and we start seeing Geno just dump it off instead of having to just run the ball up the middle.
Yeah, no, I respect it. Like, even from what you were saying in the beginning, a lot of people are too scared to even have a write up, but you're coming out here with your write up, with your face attached to Geno Smith. And I think our plays have the same kind of game script. I'm assuming the Broncos get up and run the ball a lot, and you're assuming the Seahawks get down and have to throw a lot. The other thing, too, a lot of these good defenses, they'll let you get those underneath plays. If you're up by 14 points, they're going to let Geno Smith dink and dime his way down the field all day long. It's about stopping explosive plays. That's what these good defenses do the best. They limit explosive plays, and they're perfectly fine with Geno just dump off City, which is likely what this game's going to be. I don't know. I can't even imagine, like, how do we get to the point where Geno Smith is your starting quarterback? Like, what kind of QB competition is Geno Smith, Drew Lock? That's sad that you have to pick between those two guys. But we are here. I'm sure their offense is going to be tailored to his strengths as much as possible. And a lot of the times, the way we do that is just those short passes. Keep it going. Easy completion. So I think it makes sense in theory. And I do respect that you're coming out here and giving the Geno Smith play because it's tough. And I'm going to have to tell you on it. I'm going to have to tell you. You gave a good reason. I like that minus 30 run blocking advantage right there. It's tough.
Yeah, and my last thing I'll say, and this is what I kind of mentioned to you before the show, and when I said Geno Smith, I know your eyes got big, but let's go into the last year's team and who all hit this number last year against Denver. And this is exactly what you said, where those guys just play deep. Zach Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Taylor Heineke, Jared Goff. We had Case Keenum rolling out there and hitting this number against them. Like, I'm taking DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett over every one of these receiving cores that I just mentioned there. Like I said, Zach Wilson, Derek Carr, Dak still, Daniel Jones in the first game of the season, right? A lot of people that we don't expect to be throwing the ball around on this Denver defense, and I think it's exactly what you said, where they get behind and they just back off and just let you do the dump down, dink and dunk. And yeah, if Daniel Jones hit it last year in game 1, if we can have Case Keenum with the Browns last year hitting this number, yeah, sign me up. Let's go, Geno. Let's go, Geno, baby. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. Pickett plays. We only got one today. Oh, man, this is probably the chalkiest guy in the slate, huh?
Yeah, as someone that's a big fan of the longest reception market, I love these, higher ADOT guys. Sutton's one of them. You talked about the average depth of target as well from Russell Wilson in past seasons. We can only assume that he's going to be kind of Russell Wilson from the past. All signs are pointing towards Sutton having a pretty good game. I definitely thought about that longest reception. It's still on my mind. I don't think I'm going to officially play it just because I'd like to see it first. The Sutton versus Judy debate is very interesting. Throughout their careers, Judy has been very productive. He's outproduced Sutton. Sutton's been pretty inefficient at times, but people love a lot of those kind of advanced stats that may pop out, whether it's about air yards or kind of his down the field ability and now connecting with Russell Wilson. The thing is, I just want to see it first. I just want to watch it with my own eyes, analyze how they respond to these defenses, and watch it for myself. So I'm not running out of my way to bet this. I think for show purposes, I'll be taking the over. But I'm perfectly fine being one of the people that might miss out on a Cortland Sutton, cash, and I'm also fine if he ends up going under because I just want to see it for myself first. I want to see how this team. Also, KJ Hamler, he's back. I like that guy. He's fast. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to go over, but like I said, I don't feel super strongly. I want to watch this one first.
Yeah, I lean over as well. I know KJ Hamler does have the questionable tag, but he did practice all week, so expect him in the lineup. But the Tim Patrick one, I think, is important too. He's IR'd, right? He's been out for the season there. But they're really like this is like when we talk about DFS stacks, this one is perfect, right? Besides the fact, like obviously when they're down and Russell has to throw, it's pretty condensed, right? I mean, it's Judy, it's Sutton, and then maybe Albert O there, who are going to get the bulk of the numbers here, right, on the passing side. So they're very condensed. Obviously, you have to only really worry about those two really beating you. Obviously, Alberto will probably be more in like that 5 to 7 yard range. But we haven't really seen Russ like the tight end much. I mean, at least not last year. I think it was Gerald Everett last year for him. So this might be a little bit of a step forward. I mean, I did have Gerald Everett in DFA in one of my DFS. He got a little touchdown action from Justin Herbert this week. But I'm going to lean over. There's just not that many targets here. The only thing I'm worried about is this just becoming a blowout because I don't think Seattle's going to be able to stop them at all. But yeah, there's just not that many mouths to feed in the passing game. And obviously the running game, they should be able to take care of business.
Yep, I think we're in agreement right here. I think he probably does go over, but it's a tough one with game script too. Some people think Russell Wilson's going to want to crush his former team, and they're just going to keep throwing. I don't know if there's actually that much bad blood. I guess we'll have to see for ourselves tonight. It could be interesting.
For sure. I don't think – let's do our recap. I don't think we made a touchdown parlay pregame, so we'll have to do that here on the spot for you guys. So let's kick it over to you for your one play and our picket spot, and then I will talk about mine, and we will get to our impromptu touchdown parlay here on the spot here.
Yep, I'm going Javonte Williams, longest rush, over 13.5 right here, minus 115, playing this for half a unit right here. I think he's going to have a good game. I know it's a split backfield, but I'm liking it a lot. And then Taylor Fade, I will be tailing the public, but kind of cautiously on Cortland Sutton today.
I will be rolling Geno Smith, over 18.5 completions. Take a deep breath. You might not even want to watch the actual game. Just hope you check the box score at the end and you win, because it's going to be ugly. It's going to be an ugly game here. Then I'll be on the over as well there. All right, I'll kick it to you, Stu. Who do you want to take tonight? Obviously, a very weird game. We're kind of all over the place. I know we both talked about how we really don't like much here. Is there a guy sticking out to you? I mean, obviously the line for this game isn't really crazy high, right? Only a 44-point total. Denver carrying most of that. Who is the guy here that you're going with the score?
Yeah, despite the fact that I did just talk about Javonte Williams, I'll take Melvin Gordon at the odds. Every indication, Albright, the biggest kind of Denver writer from the area, put out a statement that it was clear Gordon is getting all the short yardage and goal line work. I think that probably does continue. I think if Javonte scores, it's kind of from outside the 10, while if Gordon scores, it's inside the 10. But I'm kind of limiting my exposure to this game, so I will not be playing very big on this other stuff. I'll be making a parlay after the show. This will probably be in it as well too.
What was the odds on that?
Plus 175 on FanDuel.
Well, I remember MLB when we did our home run parlay, and we were getting some pretty nice numbers. I want to go big. Let's go Geno Smith to score a rushing touchdown, baby. Plus 550. Give it to me. He scored one in his last start against Jacksonville. Hey, 25%. That plus 500 is lower odds than that, so give it to me. I think he's at plus 500 on DK. It might honestly be higher on FanDuel, actually. But I think Geno Smith finds a way in garbage time to dive over that pylon and make it look good.
Oh, God. Okay, he's plus 500 on FanDuel. That brings us to plus 1627 right here for Melvin Gordon and Geno Smith. But hey, guys, you might want to play these separately, okay? I don't know if you need to parlay Geno Smith to score a touchdown with anyone, but we'll see. This, like I said, this game's going to be a shit show. So maybe we kind of get the good outcome right here.
Dude, this is a Geno day, baby. I'm just feeling Geno Smith. He's going to be – if I do any – I'm obviously doing more Monday through Thursday showdown slates. He's not going to be taking over Herbert or Mahomes. But I have him in my stat hero facing off against Russell Wilson, so I can go up higher in other places. So we need some Geno. We need some love on Geno this week. I don't believe we had any questions, right? Or did you want to talk about this one at all, about who you think yards-wise would you go with anybody? Or are you just thinking, hey, let's throw Melvin Gordon touchdown, Javonte Williams longest?
Yeah, I think I covered it pretty well earlier. I think I'm perfectly fine with Melvin Gordon. I think his lines are a little bit low. I think Javante's are a little high, but I think it's a two-headed monster. So let's just see how it goes, you know?
Yeah, always week one is tough, right? I always like to just back the big guys, right? The big superstar dudes or quarterbacks. That's because you know they're going to be involved. There's really no way they're not, unless you're Cam Akers, right?
Oh yeah, well he sucks, so that's life.
All right, let me pull up the names and stuff. I want to make sure that we cover who won, right? We want to make sure we cover who won all of our contests and stuff. Again, thank all you guys for popping in here and showing love on that contest. I think we had like 65 or 70 of you guys in here from the contest, so that was cool to see all you guys joining us and trying to win our money there. So I took 17th place, guys. It wasn't my best showing. It dropped 151, but yeah, there were some pretty good scores. The number one place was There Goes Nothing, dropping a 192. That is an impressive score. Absolutely nothing to do with stacking. Actually, made no stacks. Just him, Kelsey with 30, Mahomes with 38. Threw a little McCole Hardman even in there to get the full one there, but Barkley with 36, A.J. Brown by himself with the 29, Pittman with 31. Hell of a lineup, my friend. That is great. And then we had Brooklyn Nets rolling with the Hurts one. I mean, he even had McCaffrey in there in one. That's impressive. You had McCaffrey only get 15, and he still ended up getting all the way to the top. And like I said, let me for sure get this up. I will let you you got anything for us here? I'm going to pull up who won the touchdown, anytime touchdown guy. And I'll let you take it away here with whatever you got here to finish.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you were saying before, just if you did win one, if you won, the DK contest, remember to shoot one of us a message with your PayPal, and we will get that squared away. Obviously, he's finding who won the comment, right, when we asked about the touchdown scores as well. Oh, JP Williams coming in with this. So no way Seattle hits the 6.5 tonight. I'm not betting on it personally, but I do have to say it's kind of the former coach narrative, right? It's kind of Pete Carroll versus the guy that he kind of saw develop for so many years. So I would never count out Seattle. I personally think they're just a way worse football team. And but hey, week 1 showed us anything can happen. I mean, it's hard for me to confidently say that after what we just watched this weekend, right? With the Texans taking on the Colts head to head, right? The Steelers taking on the Bengals head to head. We saw a lot of craziness unfold this weekend. So I'm not going to count out Seattle at all. I just personally think the talent gap is too big to want to risk my money on the 6.5. I think, like I said, I'm going to be putting together a little parlay article for free after this one. And I think I'm probably going to sprinkle a little bit of Denver plus 10, maybe plus 14, maybe an alt line. But as the actual spread itself, I would never count out Seattle. I think it's hard to do.
Yeah, so the winner will be Andrew Steenkamer is going to be the winner there. A.J. Brown, I believe, beat out Jamar Chase by a very little margin, but he did. For points scored this week, he was the only one to take A.J. Brown, which was obviously impressive. A lot of love on the big guys there. I think that will probably be the tiebreaker, will be the just who has the most fantasy points, because I know we had about 7 or 8 of you guys pick the right one to pick an anytime touchdown scorer that was right. So we're just going to go with the highest one there. And A.J. Brown, I believe, was the highest scorer of all receivers this week, or at least was up there with Jefferson. I think he was 2 or 3 with Jefferson there. So, good call there. Obviously, you're the only one who picked A.J. Brown in his first Eagles start. That was pretty cool to see him and Jalen Hurts cooking right away. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are the best. We appreciate you. Again, we'll be back on Wednesday. What a show for Wednesday. We're going to be doing the same thing we did last week, but man, we have a hell of a Thursday night game with Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers. It is a DFS heaven there. And then Monday next week, week from now, we're going to be breaking down 2 games. We have Vikings-Titans, I believe, is the first one, and then the Bills. I don't remember who the Bills are playing. Who are the Bills playing? Or is it Bills-Titans?
I got to figure out what I have for dinner first, man. I'm not looking at the week in advance. I don't know what you're on right here. I respect it, but I'm not there.
I should know this because I have Josh Allen in every fantasy league, so I should know his schedule by heart at this point. But Josh Allen's facing the Titans, and I believe it is Minnesota against the Eagles. So that is 2 great games. Monday will be awesome to be able to drop a lot more plays for you guys. Again, I'm going to just drop through a recap here. Javonte longest rushed. Geno over 18.5 completions. And then the crazy 16-1 touchdown parlay with the GOAT, Geno Smith, baby. So thank you guys so much. If you guys won, DM one of us, and we'll get you that money. And best of luck on your bets this week. It should be a fun one. Have a good one, guys.